Most people think they know their family. I thought I knew mine. But while I was working double shifts to keep our heads above water, my own brother was drafting my ruin. He didn't just steal my money, he stole my name. He forged my signature on a $50,000 debt and laughed in my face, telling me, "The bank will come for you, not me." He thought he was the predator. He forgot that I am a man of details. In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how I turned his perfect crime into his personal nightmare. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's a masterclass in revenge. Welcome to the hour that changed everything. It started on a Tuesday. The rain in Karachi was relentless, matching the mood in my chest. My brother, Zaid, came to me with a folder and a look of pure terror. He said he'd messed up. A small business loan, he claimed. He just needed a guarantor to restructure the payments. I looked at him, my own blood, and I saw a brother in trouble. I didn't see the fox in the henhouse. I signed the document without reading the fine print. That signature? It was the loudest mistake I ever made. 6 months later, the call started. Not from a small lender, but from a major recovery office. They weren't asking for a business payment. They were notifying me of a mortgage against our family home that I never authorized. Zaid hadn't started a business. He had bought a life he couldn't afford on my credit. When I confronted him, he didn't even flinch. He sat in his new SUV and told me, "Good luck proving it in court, big brother." He thought because I was a professional, I had too much to lose to fight back. He was wrong. I started digging. Every late night at the office wasn't for my boss. It was for my revenge. I tracked every rupee. I found the shell accounts. And most importantly, I found the recording from that rainy Tuesday where he admitted the loan was a favor for his business. The trap was set. All I needed was a stage. And what better stage than our parents' 30th wedding anniversary dinner? But the brother was just the beginning. While I was taking him down, I realized my boss was in on it too. Dealing with my own brother, I could find peace at my desk. But the corporate world doesn't offer peace. It offers predators in expensive suits. I was a recovery officer. My job was simple: find the money, close the file, and move on. I had just hit a massive milestone, recovering $2.3 million in write-offs and bringing over 60 delinquent customers back to the current bucket. I was the top performer. My promotion to senior recovery was a done deal, or so I thought. Until I walked into the break room and heard my supervisor, let's call him Mr. Khan, laughing with the director. He wasn't talking about his own work. He was presenting my recovery report as his own. He had wiped my name off the digital files and replaced it with his. He told the board he was the one who personally sat with the difficult clients. He was the hero. I was just the assistant who did the paperwork. I didn't storm in. I went to his office the next morning and calmly asked about the promotion. Mr. Khan didn't even look up from his phone. "Look," he said, "you're good at the groundwork, but you lack the leadership presence for a senior role. I've decided to take the lead on your portfolio to show you how it's really done." He wasn't just stealing my credit, he was stealing my future. He thought because I was quiet, I was weak. He thought because he held the keys to the server, I couldn't prove a thing. But as a recovery officer, I know one thing better than anyone. Everyone leaves a paper trail. And Mr. Khan? He had been very, very sloppy. I knew he'd try to delete the metadata. So I did something he didn't expect. I didn't save the files on the company's server. I had been BCCing my personal encrypted email on every successful recovery report for 6 months. I also knew he was adjusting the fuel allowances and travel expenses for the field team. He was pocketing the difference while the officers on the street were struggling to pay for petrol. The day of the annual performance review, I didn't bring my complaints to HR. HR is there to protect the company, not the employee. Instead, I sent a gift to the internal audit team, an anonymous folder containing 2 things: my original time-stamped reports, the mismatched fuel receipts Mr. Khan thought he had shredded. While he was standing in the boardroom, waiting for his Employee of the Year plaque, the auditors walked in. They didn't come to clap. After the chaos at the office, I just wanted to go home and sit in my garden. I live in a quiet sector of Karachi. Or it was quiet, until my neighbor, Mr. Siddiqui, decided that my property line was merely a suggestion. It started small. A few flower pots moved 6 inches onto my driveway. Then, a pile of construction debris accidentally dumped near my gate. But the final straw came while I was away on a weekend trip. I returned to find a brand new concrete wall cutting 3 feet into my land. My car wouldn't even fit in the garage anymore. When I knocked on his door, Mr. Siddiqui didn't apologize. He gave me a smug look and said, "The old maps are wrong. This is my land now. If you don't like it, sue me. We both know you can't afford the lawyers." He was right about one thing. Lawyers are expensive. But he forgot that I deal with difficult recoveries for a living. I don't need a lawyer to find the truth. I just need the right documents. I went to the KDA Karachi Development Authority archives. I spent 3 days digging through digital records and physical maps from the 1990s, and that's when I found it. Mr. Sadiq hadn't just stolen my 3 feet of land. He had built his entire house extension over a major underground utility line, a high-pressure water main that serves the whole block. By building that wall, he hadn't just annoyed me. He had committed a massive building code violation that carried a heavy fine and an immediate demolition order. I didn't tell him what I found. I simply sent a registered notice to the municipal office regarding an emergency obstruction to the utility lines. 2 days later, while Mr. Sadiq was hosting a tea party on his new extended patio, a yellow bulldozer arrived. It wasn't mine. It belonged to the city. The officers told him he had 2 hours to remove his belongings before they cleared the obstruction. He screamed, he threatened, he even tried to offer them tea money. But since I had already carbon copied the regional director on the report, no one was willing to take a bribe that day. My son said my driveway was back to its original size, and Mr. Siddiqui was looking at a bill from the city for the cost of the demolition. He wanted a war over 3 feet? I gave him a war he couldn't win. Time for revenge. They say bad things come in threes. My brother Zaid, my supervisor Mr. Khan, and my neighbor Mr. Siddiqui. 3 men who thought they could pay a piece of my life and walk away smiling. But they made a collective mistake. They assumed I was just a victim. They didn't realize that as a recovery officer, I don't just find money, I find connections. In the same week my neighbor's wall was being bulldozed, I received a frantic call. It was Zaid. He was hiding in a cheap hotel, terrified because the bank had finally tracked down the shell account he'd been using. He begged me to help him. He said he had information that could save us both. He told me that the person who helped him forge my signature, the person who gave him the internal bank codes to bypass the security checks, was a senior employee at my very own branch, a man named Mr. Khan. The puzzle was finally complete. My boss hadn't just stolen my credit at work. He had coached my brother on how to steal my identity. They were split-level predators. Khan got the professional glory, and Zaid got the untraceable cash. And the neighbor, Mr. Sadiq? He was just a convenient distraction, a man Khan had told Zaid to lean on to keep me busy with property disputes so I wouldn't look at my bank statements. I didn't call the police immediately. I invited all 3 of them, separately, to my office under the guise of settlement negotiations. I told them I was ready to sign over the house if they just cleared my name. They all showed up, confident and greedy. But when they walked into the conference room, they didn't find me alone. They found the regional audit team and a court reporter. I played the recordings. I showed the digital trail. I watched the color drain from Mr. Khan's face as his leadership presence evaporated. I watched my brother realize that there were no more favors left to ask. Mr. Khan was escorted out in handcuffs for corporate fraud and identity theft. Zaid was given a choice, full confession or a 10-year sentence. He chose the confession. As for Mr. Sadiq, after paying the city for the demolition, he had to sell his house just to cover the fines. I bought the empty lot next to mine for pennies on the dollar. I started this hour as a man with a stolen name and a broken heart. I'm ending it as the owner of my future by Hapwain Justice.
Isn't just served, it's recovered.
If you've stayed with me for this full hour, you know one thing now. Never mistake a quiet person's silence for weakness. If you want to hear more stories of professional and personal justice, click the video on your screen right now. Forget to comment recovery below so I know who the real ones are. I'm Justice Recalled, and this was the hour that changed everything. Please like, share, and subscribe, and press the bell icon. See you in the next way.